Hello to my beautiful fellow travelers and family of light and love and joy and peace and trust and truth and all those fabulous things. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're a new time follower, thank you for joining me. I'm on a little quest here today to explain and talk a little bit about the last couple of videos. I wrestled with myself a little bit last night only because revealing yourself in such a public way opens up a lot of doors for judgment and criticism, and that doesn't bother me so much as I want to be cautious about the individuals that may be involved in this story that need to be protected. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this is really new to me, and I realized in those two videos, just looking at them, I couldn't stand to watch them. I just posted them. How nervous I was. So I've moved forward a little bit, and what I'm pretty sure I'm planning to do is to read either a chapter or a portion of a chapter, if a chapter is long, of what the events were that shifted and began to propel me forward on my path. And what we're dealing with at the moment is around the 30s. And because I think I turned, let's see, yeah, I turned 40. Well, I was 38 when I was divorced. However, what I've done is gone back, look at some of the material, realize that what I think I'll do is become just the storyteller of what I wrote down. It's more clear, and then in between those story videos, I'm going to do a lesson, a little bit of a lesson. I don't want it to be lengthy. The stories are long enough, and you can read for 20 minutes or a half an hour. Most of us can read that long and be okay, but to sit and listen to me that much, I'm not so sure. So today is a little bit of a in between. I wanted to go back to what I had written down about and the memory's not as clear as it was back then. There's so many more details, so many more things that happen, but gaining the clarity about, it's not about the story. Every single person has their life story about what they've encountered, been through, the joys, the hardships, the highs, the lows, the hills and the valleys. Every single person has that. What is important, it's what's behind it, what drives you, what's the motivating factor. And I believe that built into us are the things that help us to develop our interests and the things that we pursue, the things that we encounter that help to challenge us, so we either stay that course or that we give up that we've been pursuing because it doesn't really suit who we are. So what I wanted to do is take a few minutes today to read the ending of that chapter, because that's where I think the lessons are. So when I'm going to go back to the dream, because the dream is the thing that propelled me forward to the knowledge that the relationship was no longer serving either of us. In fact, I had I feel like you could call me a bully, and that wouldn't be a stretch. Oh, that's embarrassing to say, but I guess we all go through things. If we don't come out the other end a better person, then that would be tragic. And I think I've worked many processes since those earlier days. And of course, it all stems from foundational things earlier in years, but that's part of the story too that we'll encounter. So I'm going to go back to the end of my encounter with Stephen and my observations after that. So I'll begin. Aware now, too, that the psychic intuitive that I had seen in 83 or 84 had been following my observations all the way up to my decision to stay in the doorframe rather than move inside, I saw myself questioning being there at all. At this point, he asked, "What are you feeling?" As if in a dream, slowly reaching for the painful truth, quietly I said, "There's no room in there for me." This followed as I witnessed my husband turn to look at me briefly in the doorway before immediately turning back to his computers and work. That's when I turned to, I'll call him Stephen, to say he doesn't have anything to say to me because he doesn't know why I would want to be in there. Stephen then said, "Step out of the door and turn around," which I did. The feeling I had of desolation, isolation, of being shut out, once outside, disappeared as he said, "You're right. There isn't room in there for you or for anyone else for that matter." He waited for me to digest that before continuing. That is his world. He only has room for his work and what's in his head. For him, that is what's necessary. I'm feeling the emotions now of that time, which was very difficult. There was silence to follow for that to settle in. Not a judgment, but an observation. And I think that's important to know here. Not a judgment, but an observation, leaving me still wondering what made my husband tick, while at the same time, no wonder came to mind. It was no wonder we couldn't harmonize or communicate. No wonder we'd had so much difficulty communicating. I didn't know how to talk with him, and he didn't any more than he did with me. It wasn't anywhere on his radar. It had never been or ever would be. Stephen then said, "Now look out ahead and to the sides of you. Tell me what you see." Once more I became sightless, waiting for something to appear. Everything was bright white and nothing else. Looking ahead, turning to the right and to the left, straining to see. Straight ahead again, I said, "I can't see anything. I just see white." There was a lengthy pause before Stephen said, "Precisely. That is your world, your canvas, and what you see is blank because it's a life you have yet to choose. Your life is an ever-changing, ongoing, always evolving canvas that you and you alone can paint." Stephen's words and the greater truth behind them have stayed with me my entire life. For us, humans having our experience, doesn't that speak volumes to you? It did to me. By that time, I had been studying my dreams for about 5 years. On the way home, it occurred to me that white represented God or higher consciousness, spirituality to me. This was a very significant, uplifting meaning, reinforcing what I had forgotten, especially when a chaotic life prevailed. By following a spiritually guided life, one can experience beauty, joy, and help for challenges. I began hoping for a joy-filled one with God's blessings and assistance. This further helped me to realize that no matter what I did, where I lived, or who I was, I still needed to remember to honor my own being, my own self. I wasn't sure what that meant exactly, just that it seemed important. It also helped me to start the process of self-healing from the self-inflicted wounds, which further encouraged changes in the destructive, non-productive ways of thinking, which were in opposition to creating positive changes in our marriage, but now in my life. So there you have it. You know, there's several things that are important to know in there that I touched on briefly. We have to ask. This is a free will planet. We have to ask for help. And when I began to realize that what I'd been doing was destructive and not productive at all, you begin to wonder, how do I change this? How do I fix this and move, forward in a better way? And that's what the earlier videos are. They're focusing specifically on certain words or aspects of your life, etc. So I hope you'll take the time to sit with some of these things. Just a couple of chapters, but worth noting the conscious awareness that is emerging in this young person in her 30s who is wanting something better, something more, and is realizing that she's been behaving in an unladylike manner, okay, and not a very human-like manner. So I hope you enjoyed that. And tomorrow, I believe tomorrow, so it'll be, I will do a segment of the book. Well, it's not a book, it's something I've written about my life that has lots to be fixed in it, but I will bump across those. But I want you to understand why I'm sharing this with you. I think that there are aspects in here for all of us. So thank you for joining me. Be sure and hit like, share, subscribe. Subscribe is what helps to get this information out. And sharing it with others will help us to grow together in more positive ways. I want you to know that I love you and I thank you. In fact, I love you this much. You know me, goes out around the world, and I will see you in the next video. And if you want to know more about me, click the links down below. I'll see you next time.